Now, you know, if you've been a regular follower of these video reports over the years, I've never been a big LeBron James fan. Forget about all that conversation if he's the greatest of all time, because frankly, that's just one of those great barroom arguments that you can battle until death's end. I just don't think there's an argument that can be made that can be won there, because you're comparing apples and oranges. There's Wilt in his time period, a guy who they had to change the rules to accommodate because of his skill set, but that was a different era, a different position. There's Jordan in his time period. There's James now in his time period, in his era, without a doubt, the most dominant player. The greatest of all time? Oh, he told you he was in his mind, but he isn't. In his era, yes. But put all these things aside because, again, it's apples and oranges, it's a moot point. But I thought last night was a great time to jump on the Lakers bandwagon. After they had rallied from 16 down to beat the Houston Rockets on Thursday night, after they looked pathetic at New Orleans on Saturday, afterwards, that particular game, James came out and he was critical of his teammates, saying that he didn't sense that urgency from everybody else with the playoff drive currently happening, that he wanted everybody to get with him, to get going. And I thought, this is the time. Lakers, only a 5-point favorite at Memphis last night, a Memphis team that had lost 16 of its last 20 games, including 4 in a row. This was the time the Lakers were going to show up. LeBron was going to lead them to victory. So I had been on a roll, and I came out with my first 20-dime release in the NBA season last night. And the Lakers ended up losing the game, 110 to 105. And LeBron, the greatest of all time? I expect more from that guy last night. Now, you know, for conversation purposes, we can say he had a triple-double. And we can look on surface and say that he had a triple-double in the contest. 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. But I'm sorry. If you're going to back the bus over your teammates, which you've done repeatedly, and you come out with that triple-double, but you only score 14 points for the first 3 quarters, you only shoot, 8 for 23 in the game, and you go 0 for 4 from three-point land? That's not the game that you need to have after you are critical of your team, saying that you didn't sense that urgency 48 hours earlier. No. You got to come out and you got to put 38 on the board. You got to come out and be aggressive from the get-go. You got to come out and you got to be putting about 25 on the board in that first half. No, that little triple-double, well, hell, you do that all the time. That ain't good enough. So, lost that game last night. But I'll tell you what, you also know by now that one little loss doesn't stop me. I don't celebrate the damn wins. I don't lament the losses. And I am coming right back tonight with another 20-dime raised to bar release in college basketball. Yeah, in college basketball. It is going to be, for me personally, it is going to be my 6th of the season. The 5th was Central Florida, -6 over SMU, 95-48 on Sunday. The 4th was on Saturday. It was Gonzaga, a 20-point favorite. Yeah, big number. Yeah, they bludgeoned BYU 102-69 on Saturday. The 3rd was Marquette over Butler last Wednesday night. Tonight, it is on Memphis and Temple. Just like Central Florida, just like Gonzaga, just like Marquette, just like all the 15-dime winners as well in college hoops this season. You're going to get it for a half price off by using coupon code HALF as I go for winning day 130 out of 227. And you know the deal. All your other promos and everything else are over on the home page. Now, let's get to your complimentary play tonight. I am going to go with North Carolina -11 at home against Syracuse. What impressed me about North Carolina, and very little does with a Roy Williams coach team, let me tell you, is that the Tar Heels, after their big win at Duke, showed no letdown on Saturday as they ended Florida State's 8-game winning streak in Chapel Hill with a 78-game winning streak overall. By winning in Chapel Hill 77-59, they're now tied atop the ACC standings with Virginia and Duke. Meanwhile, you saw what happened with the Orange, coming off a 75-65 home loss to Duke over the weekend. They shot just 34.3% in that game. 5 for 23 on threes, 1 for 11 from beyond the arc in the second half. Their last road game was a 73-58 loss at NC State. I think this just continues a difficult, very challenging stretch for Syracuse when you consider that they were playing Duke just 3 days after that tragedy that ensued involving head coach Jim Boeheim when he was involved in that auto accident that claimed the life of a man who was on the road on icy conditions where he was struck by Boeheim's car. Then they lose to Duke at home. Now they're suddenly going on the road to take on a North Carolina team that is far more physical and a much better athletic team than Syracuse. Sure, Syracuse is going to come out in that 2-3 zone. They're going to challenge North Carolina to shoot over the top of it. But listen, I just think that the metrics here in this particular contest lean me to believe that North Carolina is going to be the play. The home team has covered 4 straight in the season, the series. You've got a North Carolina team that comes into this contest that is the #1 rebounding team in the nation, averaging about 43 boards a game. #3 in margin, rebounding margin, out-rebounding its foes by 9.5 a game. #5 in defensive rebounding, averaging about 30, almost 31 defensive rebounds a game. Keep in mind that even though Duke was without Zion Williamson in this past weekend's game at the Carrier Dome, Duke still out-rebounded the Orange in that contest. So you can only imagine what I think North Carolina, how I believe the Tar Heels will control the battle of the boards in this one here tonight. Staying in the ACC tonight, I think Duke is an exceptionally cheap price, laying 3.5 points at Virginia Tech. Now, you may recall last week I had a big play on Virginia at Virginia Tech, another situation where I thought the Cavaliers were an exceptionally cheap price in Blacksburg. Now, I know the Hokies are damn tough to beat when they're playing at home, but this is a Virginia Tech team that is still playing without its quarterback, and by that I mean that their starting point guard, Justin Robinson, is still out. He is not only their starting point guard, their quarterback on the floor, but also their second leading scorer, averaging about 14 points a game. Now, in his absence, forward Kelly Blackshear Jr. has really stepped up his game. During the 7 games that Robinson has been out, he is averaging about 20 points, 8.5 rebounds, coming off a 22.14 rebound performance in their win against Notre Dame over the weekend. True, Duke is still going to be in without Williamson, but you saw Duke 24-3 straight up, 12-2 in the ACC, the only unbeaten ACC road team, 7-0 outside of Durham this season. How they performed in that 75-65 win at Syracuse. You saw how R.J. Barrett stepped up with 30 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. You saw sophomore guard, what was his name? Alex O'Connell. Second career start, first this season, came off the bench with 20 points. Impressive performance, and you consider that Cam Reddish really had a bad game with just 5 points. I just think here that Duke, it's not going to be an easy game. Virginia Tech is going to play like its season is on the line, but I think Duke at this price is an exceptionally cheap price, and I'm more than willing to lay the points with Duke. Between these two ACC selections, which one do I like more? Because of the price, I like Duke, but I like both of them. But again, Duke just a little better than North Carolina. That'll do it. I wish you well, guys, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this again.